Toastmasters and Exos, and good evening to all of you. My speech will be about a significant life event that hugely impacted my life. And hopefully my speech will give you guys some background behind the Santika speech standing here today. And so I have always been a very reserved kid. I was shy, cautious, and insanely quiet. It was so much so that I rarely talked to my mom. Yeah. So back in Indonesia, growing up in a community where being an extrovert is favored and praised upon, I didn't have any close friends until I was in primary 4 when I met this girl called Beth. Beth and I were both introverts, and we well understood this. We were always comfortable in each other's presence, and over time, Beth became my first ever official BFF. It was the years that I went to school to see Beth was a total bliss. It wasn't until we entered our teens where being popular would mean the world to teenager wannabes like us. And so I remember this one day when Beth and I were playing with her Nintendo DS. That was a huge thing back then. So, and then, yes. And then one of the popular girls approached us to casually ask about the console. To which I jokingly replied that I actually owned it. And, well, it seems like a joke that is harmless, but it didn't turn out to be so harmless at all. Since that day onwards, I noticed that Beth progressively distanced herself from me and eventually ignored me completely. I was pretty saddened by it, but life went on anyways. And then the next thing I know, I came to school this one morning to arrive at my seat and see shoe prints on my desk and chair. My books were deliberately thrown out and my shoe trampled on severely too. I was devastated seeing that scene. And I felt like I was amongst the scattered books. All over the place, lying flat to the ground, feeling helpless and pretty much worthless. And it's just a tough time for me. And it turned out that the popular girls had recruited Beth, and this just further amplified the situation. And then soon after, all junior high classes were outcasting me. And then the negativity I received had become so bad that I would pretend to be physically sick so I could just stay away from school, though emotionally no pretending was ever necessary. And then days turned to weeks turned to months. I had become emotionally numb. There was no more joy or sadness, just survival. And that was good enough. And then one day, Beth miraculously and spontaneously befriended me again. And I was very, very excited, of course. But by then, I had learned to be extra cautious of whatever I say. And not flattering became a routine for me. I faked my way to make friends by doing so, and I hated myself for it. I hated it. But it worked. People started talking to me again. And as much as I hated myself for doing so, avoiding having that nightmare all over again was all that mattered. And then in 2011, 4 years after that living horror, I moved to Singapore to further my studies. I was excited to start anew as the me that I truly was, only to realize that I didn't even know who Santika was to begin with. I had lost my identity along the way, and I was disgusted with myself. And then once again, facing the day meant going on a battle that I had wanted to avoid in the first place. And sometimes my internal battle would get so intense that I would try my best not to wake up and just remain lying flat on my bed, because I wasn't even looking forward to my own existence. And then years went by, and I finally got the courage to seek psychologists for help, because it was affecting my school and personal life. And by then I was having irrational fear of abandonment, emotional instability, blurred self-identity, and suicidal thoughts. A few visits later, and it was suggested that I suffered from borderline personality disorder, a mental difficulty which is caused by, in my case, a childhood adversity. And since then on, over the past few years of struggles of just trying to break that mental barrier, therapies, and practicing mindfulness, I've managed to sort of overcome and become better. And I gained a lot of exposure as well. And I'm happy to say that a large part of that exposure has been meeting wonderful people who have been true to me, consistently encouraging me to be me and accepting me for, well, being me. And it's pleasant to know that a few of them are in this room. At the end of the day, I learned that, firstly, be uniquely you always. And if this is at risk, do number 2, which is to seek external help whenever you need to, and heck those people who say you shouldn't, because it's your life, it's not theirs. You take control. And then thirdly would be you attract the people by the qualities that you display, but you keep them by the qualities that you truly possess. And truthfully speaking, only genuine people will give meaning to your life and enrich you as a whole eventually. And okay, just a kind reminder, always be nice to